Who'd have thought that in 2025, a brand new car would have a flip-out key, 14-inch alloy wheels, and a 1-litre engine making 62 brake horsepower? This is the brand new Kia Picanto. Around the front, this new Kia Picanto looks absolutely fantastic. Kia said that a lot of the design inspiration has come from the larger and premium Kia EV9, that big electric SUV. And you can definitely see that with the headlight design here. So a lot of the design here for the headlights is definitely inspired by that larger vehicle. This entry-level 2 version comes with halogen daytime running lights and halogen headlights as standard. And those can be a little bit compromised, especially in the pitch of dark. But the other trim levels, more expensive versions, do have LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, but also a nice LED light bar at the front too. Let me know what you think about the front design in the comments down below. For colours, there aren't really many to choose from. For example, on this entry-level 2 version, you can choose some red, white, black, and this quite nice smoky blue, which I quite like. On the other trim levels, which are a bit more money, you can choose from a different blue, green and grey. And also, quite comically, are the alloy wheels on this entry-level 2 version. These are actually 14 inches in size. And if you want something a bit bigger, the other trim levels do have 16 inches. These are really, really small, quite funny. Now for the engine, this one is the entry-level 1-litre 3-cylinder with 62 brake horsepower. There is also a 1.2-litre with 77 brake horsepower on the 3 and the GT Line S versions. It actually makes enough power, and it's perfectly fine, as you'll find out in the driving section later. Around the back, the new Kia Picanto is actually quite stylish, and there's lots of nice design elements going on too. So we've got these nice sort of rear lights here, a nice interesting shape. These are standard bulbs behind here, and you can get LEDs on the more expensive versions. This rear light bar here doesn't actually light up on this particular trim. Again, this will light up on the more expensive versions of the Picanto, but it does look quite nice nonetheless. There is a gloss black diffuser down here, which is quite good, rear parking sensors and a rear reversing camera, and those 2 items comes as standard on every single version of the Picanto, which is really, really good. You might not necessarily need a reversing camera on such a small car, but it is a nice peace of mind thing to have when reversing in car parks. As you can see, this glass here is not privacy glass, that is reserved for the more expensive versions. If we open the tailgate up here, that reveals a really good amount of space actually for the size car this is. Got 255 litres of boot space back here, and it is a really nice sort of square shape, so you can get a lot of items in there if you need to. The wheel arches don't tend to encroach too much on the boot space. There are 2 little hooks on either side, which is quite good. And then underneath the false floor, which is a bit of thin cardboard, we've got a spare wheel well and all the tyre repair bits and pieces. If we fold these back seats down, that does extend to 1,010 litres. So as you can see, it's a really good amount of space, but it doesn't fold completely flat. It would have been nice to see the Picanto have a completely flat floor back here. So a height adjustable false floor would have been quite good, but you can't really expect loads and loads of extra features on such an affordable car. But generally, it's actually a really decent amount of space. For the front interior, the Picanto is actually really good quality. For such an affordable car in 2025, I'm actually really impressed at the level of build quality in the interior, but also the amount of technology that comes as standard. So for example, this Kia Picanto is the cheapest in the range, but it comes with an 8-inch infotainment screen, which is really, really fast and responsive and really easy to use, but also wide Apple CarPlay and wide Android Auto. And also, this car comes with something I wouldn't expect on a cheap car, and that's the Kia Connect Services app. That's an app on your phone which lets you see where the car is in real time, lets you lock the doors, but also lets you see the trips that you've completed over time and the fuel economy. That's a feature that's standard on the larger, more expensive Kia EV models, and it's something that I wouldn't expect on such an affordable car. And the Picanto comes with 7 years free of that service, and there is a charge after that 7 years for the eSIM essentially, which is what powers it. So that's pretty good. If you want a full in-depth guide on the Kia Picanto infotainment system as well as the Kia Connect app, there's a link in the top right corner or the description down below if you want to check that video out. Thank you. There are a few little things which are shortcomings compared to more premium models from other manufacturers. So for example, the steering wheel doesn't adjust in and out, it only adjusts up and down, which could mean that getting a comfortable position might be a bit of a challenge sometimes. Elsewhere, this entry-level version comes with manual climate control as standard. Other more expensive versions of the Picanto come with automatic climate control, whereas actually this is really easy to use and quite refreshing compared to some of the more expensive cars on the market which has basically no physical buttons. This is really, really good. Very self-explanatory, very easy to use. Got air conditioning as standard, so that's really, really good. Down here, we have a 12-volt socket for charging sort of non-USB devices, USB-A for data pass-through to the infotainment screen, as well as a USB-C port for charging other devices. We also have 2 cup holders down here with a slide-out divider, which means you can fit more items in there if you want to, and these are fairly good, to be honest. And the more expensive models of the Picanto do come with wireless phone charging as standard with a cooling system for your phone. The seats also in this particular Picanto are really comfortable. They are cloth, which makes them sort of really comfortable on a winter's day. Because this entry-level trim does not come with heated seats or a heated steering wheel as standard, you would have to go up to the more expensive models for that. Now in the back, you're not going to really expect bags and bags of space here because fundamentally, this is a really, really small car. Now, for a really small car, there's actually a really good and usable amount of space here. So this seat is set up for my driving position, and I'm around 5'7" in height. Now, and I've got just a little bit of room here, and that's just enough for most journeys, to be honest. And I've actually got quite a good amount of headroom too, again, considering the form factor of this car, because again, it is a really small car. Now, what Kia has done is added 5 seats to this vehicle. So we've actually got 3 in the back here. Now, I wouldn't particularly want to do a long journey in the middle seat here because that would be quite tight. But it's quite interesting that when compared to the Volkswagen Up, for example, that there is actually a middle seat here, which it could potentially be useful for a very short journey to the pub or just carrying someone extra that you need to. So it's quite good that they've added it, but I wouldn't expect anyone to use this for a relatively long journey, to be honest. Even though this is a combustion car, there isn't really a middle hump here, so they have packaged the vehicle quite well. Now, for amenities back here, there isn't much going on here, really. What's quite surprising is that we have got 4 electric windows in the vehicle. So again, when compared to the Volkswagen Up, the 5-door Up had manual pop-out windows, whereas this has got fully electronic windows, which is quite good to see, really. On more expensive versions of Picanto, we do have a single USB-C port here for charging devices, but because this is the entry-level trim, we don't have that at all. There is one map pocket in the back of the passenger seat, and that is about it. It's actually quite comfortable. I wouldn't mind spending a relatively long journey in the back here, and visibility is quite good for the rear passengers, and the seats are quite open and you can see quite far through. So pretty good in the back here. So what's this Kia Picanto actually like to drive? Well, as I mentioned earlier, this one is the entry-level trim level, the number 2. There was a number 1 available at one point in the past. Now this has a 1-litre petrol engine, 5-speed manual gearbox, 62 brake horsepower and a top speed of 90 miles per hour. You can get the Picanto with an automatic gearbox as well, although the 0 to 60 time does drop from 15 seconds on this one to around 18 on that automatic gearbox version. That would be quite slow, I would have thought. Now, because the Picanto weighs not much at all, around 950 kilograms, it does get a bit of a shift on sometimes. You obviously have to know how to get the best out of the engine, and you rev it a little bit higher than you would do in a more powerful car, but perfectly fine around countryside and around town. It works fine. Now also, being a little engine, the efficiency is one of its main selling points. Now, Kia quote around 54 mpg. I will put the exact figure on screen, but in my testing so far this week, I've been getting 54.2 all the way up to nearly 60 on some runs. If you just use it in town, you'll have no problem getting 70 mpg, and I did see that very briefly. Although, when you sort of labour up hills, the efficiency does drop a little bit. Now, the handling is also quite good on the Picanto too. This one has got the entry-level 14-inch alloy wheels, which means that the tyres are also quite comically small as well. But not once have I had the car lose grip. It hasn't felt unstable, and the handling is actually quite impressive. There are cars I've driven pretty recently which have far higher price tags, and the handling is nowhere near as good as this one. This version of the Picanto has a really nice and smooth 5-speed manual gearbox. Every gear change is so easy and so effortless, and the clutch itself is really nice and light and doesn't have much travel, which can make stalling quite difficult, which is quite good. And also, I haven't really felt the need for a 6th gear on this car. The engine itself doesn't really rev that high, and even at motorway speeds at 70 miles per hour in 5th gear, it isn't that loud. There are other cars I've driven recently which are far louder with only 5 speeds on their gearbox, so it's all good. So what do I think of the Kia Picanto for 2025? Well, generally, I am really impressed with this vehicle. For the price this is, it's really good quality. There's a good level of tech in there, and all the technology inside there actually works properly, which can't be said for a lot of car manufacturers nowadays. So this is definitely a recommend to buy in 2025 for a lot of people. Now, the only thing I can mildly find wrong with this is that the engine could be slightly underpowered for some people. Some people might want an engine that's a bit more powerful, so there is that 77 brake horsepower version for those people. But generally, for the majority of people, this Kia Picanto is going to be really good, and it's a definite thumbs up from me. Let me know what you think of the Kia Picanto in the comments down below. My name's Alex. Please consider subscribing to Interface Cars, and I'll see you again in the next video.